Today we'll be looking at another analysis series, and this time we'll be talking about
Thomson Reserve.
Yes, so basically Thomson Reserve is actually this building over here, and it's actually very near Thomson MRT and also Thomson Plaza.
This is probably one of the blockbuster launches this year, and I think a lot of people have been anticipating this launch since it was approved last year.
Yes, actually a lot of my friends that staying in the Thomson area or Bishan area, they anticipate it for many years. So now let's look at today's topic. So today will be interesting because we'll be covering 3 different topics. Number 1,
Why is Thomson Reserve so popular?
Number 2,
How to select the correct unit, and what is the price to walk away from when Thomson Reserve hits a certain pricing?
and number 3,
What are the alternative options you have in the market now?
correct. So it will not be a very long video. So number 1, why is Thomson Reserve so popular? So we'll be looking at a few things, but first, I think it's the basic lah. Why Thomson Reserve is so popular. Number 1, like I mentioned, is next to a very good MRT line, which is Upper Thomson MRT Brown Line. And then it's very near Thomson Plaza, directly opposite. And of course, Ai-Tong School is one of the
No-brainer, very popular school in that area itself.
within 1 kilometer. So I think these are the 3 top why Thomson Reserve is so popular.
Yes.
So, but next thing, I think most importantly is we want to dive in. Why it's so popular is number 1, because there is very little or no supply in the
In the
area.
area, there's basically nothing. I think all of the condos there are all pretty old or dated back. I mean, the only closest one that is newer is probably Jetscape.
Yeah, correct. In the District 20 belt lah. And Jetscape, I think the launch was probably in 2018 as well. So now let's look at another area. This is actually Panorama. So if you are familiar with like the Ang Mo Kio area, Lentor area, you might have heard of this Panorama. It's actually a project that is very next to CHIJ St. Nicholas and very close to Mayflower MRT.
Yep.
But this project itself is very interesting because this whole belt itself is landed enclave. They don't really have a lot of condo nearby.
Yep.
Other than that, these are the HDBs and things like
Yes.
that. So from the record, we can see Panorama with very little or no condo supply around the area. They have 294 profitable transactions since they launched, and the highest profit is actually 1.615 million with 0 unprofitable transactions. So now let's look at not only the first owner but the resale owner. They also make profit. So these are both Panorama.
Yeah, these are all Panorama. So you can see from the screen itself, right? This, if we actually pick a specific unit, which is 0730. So when the first owner purchased, it was back in 2014. Yeah, so when the resale owner come in, it's actually already in 2017. They bought in at 1.31 mil. And then we have a third resale owner coming in 2025 and purchased this same unit at 2.1 mil. So it means the second owner actually walked away with a 790,000 profit.
Similarly, for another unit in the same project itself, you can see both are actually 3 bidders. You can see that even the second owner, when it come in at $1.51 million, right? And they also make a profit of $560,000.
Yes.
And this is actually the effect of, like, if let's say in the surrounding there is actually no
supply
and things
And
like
you're the
that.
only one there. So basically, when people come in as resale buyers, right, they only have you to look for.
Correct. So basically, other than, all the things that we shared earlier on, like the good stuff, which is like near MRT, near mall, near school, right? This is also something that is very important, which is when you are surrounded with very little to no supply. Now let's look at another case study, which is very similar. And we are all picking like projects that is nearby.
Yep.
Panorama is in Ang Mo Kio area, and now we'll be looking at Jetscape.
Yes, so Jetscape is in the Marymount area, very close to Marymount MRT. I think about 3 to 5 minutes walk. Almost sheltered also.
Correct.
So you also have good schools. You have Cat High in the area. You have Whitley in the area.
In fact, some of them is 1 km to Ai-Tong also.
Yes. So similarly, in this whole area, you're surrounded with a lot of private, like landed and also HDB. So you're only 1 condo over there. Very mega condo, very prominent. And Jetscape similarly, right, back then when they hit the resale market, right, you can see there are 311 profitable transactions. And the highest profit is actually very crazy, 4.35 million for a condo unit. And also same as Panorama, 0 unprofitable transaction.
Now, some of you all that are familiar with this area, you will say that, oh, but actually Jetscape surrounding it, there are other condos. But these condos are generally much older and they are not really comparable to Jetscape in this way. That's why we mentioned that it's little or no supply.
Yep.
So next, now let's see how the resale owner actually perform, which is the one that we mentioned, right, earlier. Okay, so now let's look at not only the first owner, but how the resale owners make profit in Jetscape. So we can see, right, these are all like just 2 different blocks in Jetscape, 2 different unit type. One is a 2-bedder, one is a 3-bedder. So for two-bedder, even the resale owner, when they come in at 1.445, right, they actually make a $414,000 profit.
Yeah, I think it's quite rare for two-bedroom to make a profit that is higher than 400,000. Usually in the market, we see averagely 2 to 300.
Correct.
Because of your, your size of your unit.
And for the three-bedder, even more exaggerating, they actually make a
100
profit.
over K profit.
Correct.
Yeah, this happens when you really don't have supply in the area and you are really like a good condo, good development, good layout. So people come in for this kind of qualities.
Correct. So this is actually one of the important point why we feel that, Thomson Reserve will be so popular.
Yes.
Because we don't want to be like anybody else that tell you all the good things about Thomson Reserve, which I think before we even share, you already know.
Yeah. So of course, we also have to see what are the profile of Thomson buyers, in the area.
What are the buyers?
So we use Jadescape as a reference because I think that's the closest and newest reference in the area. So for Jadescape, you can see that 80% or 81% of them are Singaporean buyers, definitely because of the ABSD now. We do also have some PR, 15%. And most of actually more importantly is who are the buyers, HDB or private. We can see that there is a higher amount of buyers coming from the private sector because we also mentioned that in the area, a lot of like landed buyers or landed downgraders coming in. And of course, you have your HDB also because we have in the nearby area like Toa Payoh, like Bishan and Ang Mo Kio, we do have a lot of $1 million HDB that will be able to support this kind of entry prices.
Correct. And then, of course, I think most importantly is a lot of people will be asking, wow, Jadescape, profit $4.35 million. What kind of property can profit this kind of amount, right? This amount, honestly speaking, you can take this profit and buy a full cash down, a landed already. So actually, for Jadescape wise, right, of course, it's gonna be the bigger type. Like, it cannot be like one bedder or two bedder and you make this amount. Please, if you know, tell me also. I also want
We
to
will
buy.
all buy.
Yes. So for this unit itself, $4.35 million is for the six-bedder type. So for them, right, in 2019, they make this decision, right, to actually buy in this 99-year leasehold project, brand new at $5.8 million. So am I right to ask you, right, Hazel, if you got $5.8 million last time, 2019, would you buy a freehold or would you buy a 99-year leasehold? Because the freehold back then, the landed price also is in fact cheaper than 5.8 lah.
I'll buy a landed.
Right.
Singaporean dream to buy a landed.
I also would want to buy a landed. But in today's case, right, now that you can see, wow, you are going to profit 4.35 million, maybe it might be a bit different for you already, right? So now let's see. If back then you have $5 million, which one would you choose? Would you choose a Jadescape? Okay, let's say if now in the market it's a resale, 3 years, 5-room, minimal renovation, right? And then after that at this kind of price, or would you go for a freehold original, right? But you still need to do a A&A and rebuild for another like probably $1 million extra for renovation. Which one would you choose?
To be honest, I think both options will have their own fans. I mean, technically, most people will lean towards having a freehold landed. I mean, but of course, we also have to take into consideration that now the cost is not low, it's very high. To do A&A, to do rebuild, right? At least 500K for normal A&A, or all the way until 1.5 or even 2 million just to rebuild a landed house.
Correct. So I think a lot of people will be like, oh, like previously before you even share the data, you will be like, oh, I just want to go for a landed freehold, why not? But from the data, you can also see that there will be people that actually appreciate the newer condo. Maybe they like the facilities, they like the whole penthouse vibe, and they prefer something that is newer, don't need to do too much renovation. And they will pay that kind of money to go into a six-bedder in Jadescape.
And of course, there will also be one group of buyers, the PRs, that will not be able to buy landed due to the restriction in Singapore. So they only can choose condo.
So correct. So that's why there will be a demand for it. Okay.
So I think moving into the second part is really more about how do we select the correct unit and what is the price we should walk away, right, when Thomson Reserve hits a certain pricing.
Alright, so now let's move to for selecting of correct unit. Most importantly, I think for a lot of our project, we talk about layout selection. But don't worry, this time we're not sharing with you the floor plan.
Yes.
So we just want to tell you or like maybe share with you a little bit like how does this kind of like layout actually affect your profitability. So right now, we'll be looking at this project, Skyview and Sky Habitat. Right across the road, right, this is actually where Bishan MRT is. Both of them are from the same developer, Capital Land. Side by side, launched 1 year apart. Of course, Sky Habitat is slightly 1 year older. In fact, Sky Habitat is actually an award-winning condo.
Yeah, it's a designer condo. We're all familiar back then, but it's so hyped up, right?
Yeah, it's designed by basically the same person that designed the FBS, which is the infinity pool. So you do get an infinity pool over here, which is the height, right? So how this layout actually affect the profitability? So for Sky Habitat, right now you can see, right, a whole sea of red. This is very scary. Because you have actually 28 unprofitable transactions through the very, very beginning, and the highest loss is at 685,000, and that's a lot of money.
And actually, if you note, right, the highest loss is actually by 4-bedroom unit. I mean, usually 4-bedroom, we all know, you kind of make money, right? Because it's not for own stay.
Correct. And because we are in the Bishan area, surrounded by a lot of good schools, Catholic High, Raffles, Kuo Chuan Presbyterian, and a lot of family are actually coming into this area. Typically, the 3 and the 4-bedder should make some profit.
So for it to make such a huge loss, what is the reason?
Correct. So now, let's look at Skyview. So when we compare with Skyview, right, it's not too bad. There's only one unprofitable transaction so far, and the highest loss is only at 89,000, right? So why Skyview can perform so much better than Sky Habitat? So this is the reason why. So where we are seeing this layout right now is actually a Skyview layout. In fact, it's actually smaller than a Sky Habitat, both layout for the 2-bedder. But you can see this is pretty much very squarish structure over here, right?
Yes.
But you can see Sky Habitat one, right? Very regular, but Sky Habitat one is slightly bigger, but it's a little bit odd shape. Okay, number one is there is actually a missing balcony over here. So this kind of balcony, if you have seen if you have seen Sky Habitat before, you realize that nothing much you can put on this balcony.
I mean, there's nothing much you can do there in that balcony.
Yeah, you can't really zip track down also because it's a little bit odd shape.
Yeah,
and then maybe you can put a potted plant or like a small table with 2 chairs.
Actually, wasted space.
Wasted space. And then the other one is actually a powder room instead of a full bathroom. So you have one toilet with shower, one is just a dry powder room. So for this layout, it's very similar, but I obviously prefer this because at least the balcony is bigger.
Yeah, you can still zip track it.
You can put like a bigger table, and chair so that you can have an alfresco.
And then you still can have your dining outside compared to the other layout where you can't really do much to it.
Yes.
And I think also another thing to note between the difference of Skyview and Sky Habitat is that Skyview has an enclosable kitchen. So I think it's still more useful compared to open concept.
Correct.
I mean, it's not a deal breaker but if you have a choice, then I think more people will just incline towards having an enclosable kitchen.
Yes, and also you can see that they actually have like a walk-in wardrobe thing, but this one is actually just one line over here.
Yes.
So frankly speaking, I also have sold like Sky Habitat units before, and I think what I hear a lot from the buyers are the odd shape. Yeah. So that is actually one very, very big factor that will affect your profitability in the future. Now let's go to the second part, which is the entry price and walkaway price.
So for that, we will actually look at the price gap, in the market back then. Take the rest of Central Region, which is RCR versus Core Central Region CCR.
And later on, we'll be looking at RCR versus OCR as well. This part is actually the most important part for our presentation. So first of all, let me share with you. Okay, so we'll be looking at Woodleigh Residences area. Woodleigh is in Potong Pasir area, and Leedon Green is in Holland area. So we're talking about this is RCR, rest of Central Region, and this is Core Central Region.
Before we go in, maybe I'll just add in a bit of a background. So usually when we compare prices of CCR versus RCR, right, CCR will usually have a price premium of 10 to 30% compared to RCR.
Of course, because we're talking about like Core Central area, Orchard. Yeah, so obviously it's more expensive. But in today's market, in 2021, right, when you are a buyer buying in, right, 2021 here, 2021 here, both of them, you notice, right, they don't have any price gap, meaning to say the PSF starting price is almost the same. So when there is actually no price gap, right? So why would people still go in Woodleigh Residences? Maybe a lot of people say that, integrated, convenient, MRT, shopping mall. Correct. So there will be people that still,
prefer that.
Correct.
Will pay for the convenience.
Exactly. But then when it comes to 2024 and 2025, when they same period when they sell, right, you can see that CCR, no brainer, they actually make a higher ROI, which is 50 to 60% as compared to Woodleigh. Still make money, but a bit lesser.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to explain a little bit.
Yeah, I think maybe if we compare RCR, OCR, CCR, maybe some of y'all may confuse, right? What does it mean, right? But if I use a more layman example, right? I use cars as an example. Woodleigh or RCR, right, is actually a Mercedes. And then you get your Leedon Green CCR area is a Porsche. So if you have a chance to buy a Porsche at a Mercedes price, would you do it?
Yeah, I would do it. So a lot of people, maybe they don't see it as layman term as what she's trying to say.
So actually basically I think it's a no-brainer. If I can get a Porsche now at Mercedes price, I think I will go for it.
So as a resale buyer coming in during this period of time, we are selling a Porsche and a Mercedes, right? Technically speaking, you won't want to be at the same price already. Your Porsche you can sell higher already. And that's the reason why their ROI is actually a bit higher as well. So So now let's go into another case study, and this time around we'll be looking at a project in Chinatown. Okay, close to 3 MRT, right? One per back.
Basically, is the MRT line. It's an interchange line for 3 lines.
Correct. So again, no price gap as compared to Leedon Green. In fact, actually at some point in time, the purchase price PSF is actually higher than Leedon Green. But you can see profit itself in terms of like the ROI, it actually tells a story. CCR of course still got
It will still catch up. Eventually, the price will still catch up.
Correct.
People will realize that the better deal is to go into CCR.
Correct. So I think later what we were going to share with you is actually a walk-away price. Meaning to say that if today, in today's market, your CCR, right, if you can find a CCR project that is very, very similar to your RCR, which is Thomson Reserve at this price, then maybe in that case, you should actually be looking at the CCR. Because, I mean, really at the end of the day, depends why you buy Thomson Reserve, right? So if you are buying in just to, make certain money, make a certain profit.
Like for investment, then I think we should be looking at numbers instead of emotions. But let's say if you are buying there for own stay, you really want to stay there for the school and all,
please go ahead.
Then of course, please go ahead.
Yes. Then after that, next we'll be looking at the 4-bedder. This time round, there will be a price gap already between the Leedon Green and also Woodleigh Residences, whereby of course Leedon Green in terms of price is slightly more expensive than RCR. But you can see that even though it's slightly higher than RCR, the ROI return is
much higher, 132%. Because I think the price gap is not substantial enough. And if you're all familiar, I mean, if you're not familiar, you can watch back our previous video. We did something on Sky and Holland where we explained the Holland buyer's profile. The big bedroom types over there actually make a lot of profit because people are all going in for the big floor plates.
Correct. So, which leads us to the last slide for this segment, which is the core central project to consider if Thomson Reserve were to sell at 3,000 PSF.
Yeah, frankly speaking, it is a very high chance that you will cross 3,000.
I think highly.
Looking at the performance of all the RCR lately, Bella Bay and all.
I mean, just look at the Jurong one, the project itself.
Jayden.
Jayden itself.
Jayden is already 2008.
Correct, thereabout. So it's no-brainer that probably for most of the Thomson Reserve, it might cross 3,000. And if it crosses $3,000, then if you are an investor going in or just wanting Thomson Reserve, but you're not sure whether you will earn a lot of money. So if you are an investor going into this, what we are trying to say based on the previous stats is that actually if you are considering going in at the same PSF as CCR usually will outperform during the resale time.
I think not only in terms of resale price, but let's say if you're really pure investment, right? Even in terms of rental, right? CCR will command a higher rent.
Exactly, correct. So what are some of the CCR projects? Of course, we can't be sharing with you every single project right here, if not no time, right? So two of the projects that we actually put up is actually for 2-bedder. You can consider a rear because right now the PSF is only at 2,816. And for 3-bedder, you can consider Union Square. These are all CCR projects because it's actually asking at about 2,651. So you're buying in a piece of CCR at a potential PSF that is actually lower than the RCR price. So if you want to know what other projects that you can actually consider if this Thomson Reserve hit this 3,000 PSF, you can drop us a call and we'll be more than happy to share with you.
We can share with you the full list. We're not able to put everything here.
Yes.
Not this video will be more than 1 hour.
Okay, next is the price gap between RCR and OCR. So just now we shared, if let's say CCR and RCR about the same price, go for the CCR.
Yes.
But right now is OCR is basically the outskirts lah. Okay, if the OCR is very, very, very low, then maybe it's also potential for you to consider the OCR. And then what are some of the projects to consider, which we'll touch on. So now let's go.
Yeah, so in this case, right, we can see the previous example of Claiborne 4-bedroom versus Woodleigh Residences 4-bedroom. So Claiborne is OCR definitely, and there is a price gap of 45% compared to Woodleigh Residences. So you can see the profit disparity is huge when the price gap is huge.
Correct.
So Claiborne's 4-bed profit is 620k all the way until 930k. But Woodleigh Residences, you only get 474k.
Which is good enough.
Yeah, but when you look at Claiborne, I think you will be like, why didn't I buy Claiborne?
Yeah, so Claiborne is actually in the Clementi area.
Clementi area, not near any MRT. Of course, you have good school lah.
Good school lah. Also not too far from MRT lah. But of course, Woodleigh is directly connected, so it's very, very accessible. So right now, you can see, if let's say Claiborne, which is an OCR one, right, and the price gap is so much lower. We are talking about 1,006 plus PSF as compared to 2003 at the same year. Then maybe it's actually better for you to consider the OCR part, right? Of course, we also need to take into consideration what type of buyers in that area.
I mean, if you have a budget for a 3-bedroom back then, right, for Woodley, right, you probably would have been able to afford a 4-bedroom in Claiborne.
Correct. So now let's look at another case example, Whistler Grand, which is in Clementi area, but between Clementi and
Coast side.
West Coast side. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So and then Avenue South Residences is more towards I would say Vivo, quite close to Vivo City, that area. So you can see one is in RCR, which is this one, and the other one, of course, is quite far away from OCR. And when you enter around 2019, this is 1,000, 2,003, and this is 1,000, 9,008. If I am a very, very prudent buyer, I would also try to go for this because the price gap is actually way lower. So we are talking about 47% price gap. And of course, because of this price gap, it's too wide already, right? The profit itself is way higher.
Scarier. You look at Avenue South, right, we're talking about 3-bedroom over here, and it's only in the range of 200 to 300k profit. I mean, you probably make that profit for a 2-bedroom elsewhere.
Correct.
But Whistler Grand now, we're talking about 600 to 700,000 profit.
So although this one is RCR, so a lot of people will compare like that. I'd rather stay in the RCR. But you also cannot like take it so literally at face value, because if your OCR price gap is so much, cheaper,
there's so much disparity.
So I think then it will be a good time for you to reconsider and going into this OCR. So now let's look at what are some of the OCR project right now that is of a very, very good PSF.
If you ask me, right, if Thomson Reserve really crossed 3,000 PSF, right, I think the best deal for a big bedroom type is at Alta. Because Alta, you're still getting something at 2,002 PSF, which is really a rare find this day.
Correct.
Now the average PSF this day, we're talking about probably 25, 26, 27 kind of rate. Actually, to grab a 2002, right?
Well, it's
really
quite
a steal in the market.
Correct. It's a very attractive PSF. Actually, Alta and Claiborne, they are around the same area, which is in the
beside each other.
Clementi area. Actually, for Clementi area, although they are considered OCR, right? But frankly speaking, they are not a very far drive away from town. They are still quite near. So these are the projects that are very attractive because in terms of location, they are not like very, very far west. Actually, very, very close to RCR, but because of how the government cut the area, it becomes like a OCR thing. So I think this is something that you can really, really look into. So, in conclusion, just want to say that I think the last part is very important. So if we compare RCR and CCR, if they are of the similar price gap, try to go for CCR. If the RCR compare with OCR, but OCR is very much lower and very big, then maybe it's good for you to consider OCR. And these are all like more for investment mindset. So if you are somebody that really wants to go into, Thomson Reserve because you really like the place, you have sentimental value, your mother stay nearby, etc.
School and area.
Please go ahead. But there is another option, which is also to look into this other project first, go in, make the profit, and then, of course, go back to the Thomson Reserve and retire next time.
Yes. I mean, I believe that there's still some time to the launch of Thomson Reserve, so it's good to, widen your options, take a few more into consideration, because I think another key issue of Thomson Reserve is whether you got the luck.
Oh, yes.
Because we know that there's so much hype and so much excitement about this project, right? There are so many people that's probably going to go in this project, right? So whether you have the luck to get a good number to buy a unit is also another question.
Alright, so maybe you can widen your options a little bit. So these are our contact. So if you want to reach out to us to get more information, please do. Of course, we also have all the project dates and things like that. So just drop us a DM and we will connect to you.
Once again, I'm Hazel.
I'm Brina.
Let us know if you're keen in Thomson Reserve or to find out what are the alternative options in the market.
And we'll see you at the next analysis. Bye.